start talking and make sure that everybody's set up there. My name is Carrie, and I work for Brunswick-Topsham Land Trust. And we are so excited to see the 24-25 student research projects this year. Just to tell you a little bit about the Land Trust, we have three main arms. One of them is conservation and stewardship. So you might have been out to the Cathance River Nature Preserve, or Woodward Point, or Crystal Springs Farm, or the Labyrinth Trail. All of those are owned by the run by the Brunswick-Topsham Land Trust. Right now we have over 3,000 acres in conservation. Another part is supporting a vibrant local food system. For those of you who've been to the Crystal Springs Farmers Market, that is also a BTLT project. And we work with the main coast of we have a special garden that grows for the hunger prevention, mid-coast hunger prevention, and we work with the local food bank to provide local food. And then this event today is part of our connecting people to the natural world through education and recreation. So there's 4 different pictures on this slide. There's summer camp. We run a summer camp with over 200 kids every year. We do adult programming where they go out and they look for salamanders in vernal pools. We run a very active field trip program, which will start up just after April break. We actually have students on the preserve every school day from the day after April break until, I believe, the day before school lets out. So we have a lot of kids coming through there, and that one they're measuring river speed by tossing acorns in the water. And then this is the project we're all here for today. This is the Mount Ararat students who come and do research on our preserve. A little bit about this biology program. Glenn Evans actually started this program with the Cathance River Nature Education Alliance way back in 2007. And it's a pretty remarkable program that puts together a local high school, an education arm of the Land Trust, and then all of these local experts who come every week for 2 months to work with these students. So it's an amazing program. This year Glenn sort of retired, not quite. He's still in the project, but he's not leading the charge. So we're so glad that Ms. Northland wanted to step up and take on this big project. So I think we should give our teachers a huge round of applause. Great job. Because it is a lot of work to shuttle kids there and figure out schedules and all of that. So they do research on our preserve, and the BTLT staff helps with finding a place for them to base. They base out of the Ecology Center. We provide some tools. We connect with mentors. And then they just run with the project all on their own. It's great. I worked with them this year for the first time, and I would just show up at the preserve and say, hi, and they were, yep, we have to go get this there, and then we're going. Great, do you need anything? No, we're good. So it's really a very self-directed project, which is amazing. So this is the Ecology Center. They all show up there in the morning, bright and early on a Monday or a Tuesday. They meet up with their mentors. They gather their supplies. This is our pond shed that has buckets and nets and all sorts of scoops. They get fishing gear, measuring tapes, all sorts of things to study whatever they're studying out in the preserve. And then this is how they spend their morning. It's a pretty good way to spend your science class, really. They're out measuring the heath. They put on snowshoes and track out into the heath. They are measuring this plot has been measured since it started in 2007. So it's one of the oldest plots studied by students in the state. Pretty remarkable. These guys got to just fish whenever they came. That was a pretty good deal. And then the bird crew, and then the mammal trackers, which got to check. We always love to talk about with our school groups that come through about the secret cameras they set up in the woods. And they take these pictures. And we have some really cool footage from those images, actually, that we then use with our school trips to prove that all those animals actually exist. So this is just a big thank you again to Ms. Northland for helping to get all those kids there and organized and make their posters with them. And she also supervised the fish crew. Mentors, like I said, they came every week for an hour and a half for the months of September and October, which is a lot of time to take out of your schedule. So we had Laura Birib from Stantec, and she did the mammal study group. Dr. Fred Schiacchi worked out on the heath. He's a retired professor and a Maine master naturalist. Kevin Doran and Shane Dugan. Kevin retired. I was really sad when he was retiring. I was afraid we were going to lose him, but he stayed around. And they worked with the fern plot, and then Glenn Evans and Meg Holland worked with the birding crew. So give them a huge round of applause. You would not have And then a few more quick thank yous. Stantec actually printed all of these great posters for us, which is a huge thank you to them. And then also, this event kicks off a speaker series that we'll be doing all spring, and it's sponsored by Bath Savings Trust Company, called Voices for and from the Land. So this is student voices. In March, there will be a speaker from the Changemakers group out of the Maine Education Association, and they'll talk about their experiences in nature coming from Solon Ahmad and Ray Mills, and they both come from different cultures and how they connected with the land. So I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Norklin. Let me get your slideshow up for you. And once again, thank you all so much for coming.
Welcome mentors, parents, community members, and teachers, and friends, and students as well. Thank you for joining us for what I believe is the 20th year of research at the Preserve. Glenn's nodding his head. So 20 years, started by Glenn Evans, that students from Mount Ararat have been traveling just down the road. We're very lucky to have the Preserve so close to us. I would like to give special thanks to Carrie Truby for providing resources from Korea and use of the Ecology Center on the days where it was very cold and rainy. We were very blessed to come back to the Ecology Center to a nice warm wood stove so the students could warm up before heading back to the school. I'd also like to thank the Topsham Library for hosting us, and again to our mentors that Carrie mentioned. I'd like to give special recognition to Glenn Evans, who created this program and also generously served as a mentor this year. Let's give them another round of applause. As a note, if you are someone, or if you know of someone who may be interested in mentoring, please have them reach out. We're always looking for people to interact with students. If you have someone who works in some sort of scientific capacity or retired from a career in science, we love connecting those people with our students. So these students here, they are 10th graders at, they're ready to go. These are our advanced biology 10th graders at Mount Ararat High School. Really lovely group of students that I am very privileged to have the chance to work with. They've been working diligently since September, compiling and analyzing their data that they will share with you tonight. Please join me in applauding their hard work, because they have worked they've worked very well together and have put in a lot of hours building these beautiful presentations for you. So let's give them a So what'll happen, I'm going to have the students tell you a little bit about their research, and then once all 5 groups have given you a quick introduction, then we'll break to move around the room. Please feel free to ask them really tough questions, anything you want to know about their data. There are snacks in that back corner there as well, so please help yourself to those. Without further ado, our first group here are our fish boys. Come on up. What's that?
So we stand right here behind the...
You're good right there.
Yeah. So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Evan Kowalski, this is Jay Beatty, and this is Gavin Wallace. And thank you for giving us your time and energy tonight. First and foremost, I would just like to thank our mentor, Ms. Norklin, for being an amazing role model and for keeping us on track throughout our entire journey. Secondly, I would like to thank Korea for again giving us this one-of-a-lifetime opportunity and for making us experience new things. As you can see here, and as Ms. Norklin said, we are the fish group, or as most people call us, the fish boys. Thank you.
The questions we wanted to answer were: what factors affect fish population, and what fishing techniques work best at Korea?
Our hypothesis for this project was that lower water temperature, salinity, and pH levels will increase the number of fish caught. And we also researched the effect that lures had on the number of fish caught.
So I'm sorry that this presentation is short and sweet, but before I go, I would just like to say, if there's any fishermen or fisherwomen here today, please don't take me fishing. I am the worst luck that there is. Okay? Out of the span of about maybe 5 or 6 days, I lost about 4 or 5 lures and about 200 feet of line. And the only thing that I caught, you ready for this? It's not fish. It's actually either trees or logs from the bottom of the river. So again, please don't take me. I'm terrible luck. So thank you guys for being here tonight, and I really appreciate that.
All right, next up are the students who did the fern study with the trees at the Cathance Preserve.
All right. So hello, I'm Zoe Bolton, this is Ashlyn Tundell, and this is Liam Emmett, and we are the tree group.
So first of all, I want to thank our mentors Shane and Kevin for helping us with this study. And as you can see, we were the fern study at the preserve, which was studying trees and that kind of thing. So fern is a program dedicated to education and field research with high school students. They've been going since 2009 with Mount Ararat, which is the year a lot of us were born. We were specifically studying how soil affects the tree population and how dense those trees were. And we hypothesized that drier soil leads to less diverse trees. However, we weren't able to study that very much because we were rained on all the time. But yeah, so thank you.
All right, next up, the group that studied the fen, better known as the heath, at the preserve.
Hello all, my name is Miles Daly, this is Joshua Kelly Cohen, and this is Nolan Buck, and we did a study on the heath fen at the Cathance River Nature Preserve. For our project, we performed this study on the biodiversity of the heath fen with the help of Dr. Fred. We continue to study that Dr. Fred has been running for many years, and our research question for this year was, what is the biodiversity of the fen, and how is it related to acidity in different areas around the fen?
Our hypothesis for this project was that the biodiversity measurements and pH of the fen would fluctuate across the area of the heath, and the biodiversity will be lower towards the center.
Since this is also going to be a short one, I would like to share a little, one of the most memorable parts of the heath fen for me was definitely traversing it. As one of the things that also makes the heath fen such a interesting and special place is how it's made up. It's like a body of water, like a large pond or even a lake, and a layer of peat on top of it, creating kind of like a water kind of mat if you've ever been on one of those. So we had to take snowshoes out onto the fen heath to make sure that we would not puncture through and possibly get stuck for a while, which does happen to animals out there. There will be like deer who will run out onto the fen thinking it's solid ground, but will punch through the ground and get stuck and starve to death, which one of the groups found a deer skeleton one year, I believe. So I also fell over in the heath fen, would not recommend, as its water smells very sulfury. It's not fun, but it was a fun study, and I'm really glad I did it.
Excellent. Luckily, Nolan has his group mates to pull him out and not abandon him in the fen. Next up is our mammal study group.
Hello everyone, I'm Ellie Douglas, this is Brooke Morgan and Morgan Crawford, and we are the Mammal Study Group this year at CREA. We had the honor of working with our amazing mentor, Laura Barabee, who guided us in our research and shared her knowledge with us, especially when it came to bats.
So we used game cameras and an acoustic bat detector to observe correlations between mammals in the area and factors such as the number of daylight hours, the time of day, and temperature.
We hypothesized that we would observe mostly nocturnal and crepuscular species such as deer and other small mammals. We also hypothesized that prey-predator interactions would be minimal,
and that seasonal changes such as loss of daylight hours and lower temperatures would result in a decrease of observed activity. As for the bats, we hypothesized that species that hibernate in colonies would be seen less. Find out why. You can see us at our poster. And one thing we actually didn't anticipate was that the deer would be traveling in larger groups. One of the biggest surprises of our study was seeing a large group of male deer, which we aptly named the boy band. So if you want to come over and see cute game camera footage of animals and learn more about our findings, come over to our table.
Last but not least is our bird group.
Good evening, I'm Logan Gasper, this is Isaac Wright, this is Will Aegis, and we are the bird group at CREA this year. We are mentored by Mr. Glenn Evans and Miss Meg Holland.
Our guiding research questions as the bird group were, how will the abiotic factors cloud cover, temperature, and humidity affect observable bird activity within the Cathance River Nature Preserve?
And our hypothesis was that avian activity would increase as temperature increased, as humidity decreased, and when cloud cover was limited.
In addition to going out and walking the trails to observe birds, we also did some photography. So if you'd like to take out two birds with one stone, say, you can come over to our table and see our research and some nice avian photography.
Finally, we would like to give a big shout out to our mentors for being so helpful throughout this project. Thank you guys so much.
Yes. All right, thank you to our groups. Please help yourselves to their research and go ahead and check it out. Thank you all for coming.